Hi guys, and welcome back to Top Speed Golf. In this video, we're going to talk about something that's really important. I've been getting a lot of questions on this lately. It's absolutely crucial for you to hit that ball dead solid, consistently coming through contact. So are you not really getting the solid strike on the ball that you'd like to have? This is something you should pay attention to and use the left hand properly as we're coming through impact and into the release. So we're going to talk about how the club comes all the way through impact, how you can perfectly compress this ball, how we're going to get a flat spot at the bottom of the swing, and then how that wrist is actually going to fold up and cup as you come into the follow through. So if that sounds good to you, let's go and get started. All right, so the left wrist is a very confusing topic in golf. We know that we don't want to start flipping the club. If we start to flip the club in the downswing, that's going to add loft to our club face. As the shaft goes back, it adds a lot of loft. The ball is going to kind of slide up the face. You're not really going to get a lot of compression on the golf ball. So we know we want to have some forward shaft lean. We want to have this left wrist nice and flat or even a little bit bowed forward. But then how do we follow through? I feel like I'm kind of jammed up here. I really can't get through the swing. Well, the left wrist does need to release, and we're going to go through that. But first, let's talk about what needs to happen as we're actually coming through contact. So here with this golf ball, let's imagine I'm going this way. And what I want to have happen is I want to create enough forward shaft lean to where I can de-loft this face and actually compress the ball a little bit more. So PGA Tour players are taking about 30% of the natural loft of the club off at impact. This is what's called dynamic loft, or how much loft there is actually on the club as we hit the ball. So a good, easy way to think about this is a pitching wedge, roughly 45 degrees of loft on the club naturally as it's sitting on the ground. A PGA Tour player is going to de-loft that club about 15 degrees. For those of you who have a little bit lower swing speed, you may not want to de-loft it quite as much. But the idea there is that we do want to take loft off that club. Now, the way that we're going to be able to do this is by getting a little bit of bow, or at least having the left wrist flat in the downswing. So as I'm making my downswing, you're going to see this is nice and flat. I'm closing this club face down. We talk about this in the move section where we want to flatten this club out and we want to close it down with our wrist. We go over that in the Top Speed Golf system in the move. And then what that's going to do is set me up in a position now to where this left wrist can be releasing. I actually want the left wrist to be releasing through impact, but it's in a position to where as that's happening, I still have forward shaft lean as I come through contact. Now, as you finish through contact and we get into the straight line release, now let's pretend I'm hitting one right for the camera. I've come down, I have the bow, my hips are clearing out of the way to make room for me to have forward shaft lean. So sometimes if my hips are gonna bump and stall out, I'm going to have to flip to keep the club moving. I want to keep these hips moving out of the way so that I can get that forward shaft lean coming through contact. And as I'm releasing, as I get to what we call the straight line release, meaning that I'm letting everything go, the angles in my arms are letting go about 45 degrees in front of this golf ball. Now my left wrist is going to be dead flat. So we went from a slightly bowed, kind of lagging position. We let our hips clear out of the way. This club is releasing to the straight line release. The impact, the forward shaft lean is having an impact that 33% of loft we're taking off is just happening naturally on my way to release. And then what's going to happen to the left wrist after this is very important, because I think a lot of times people try to force this instead of letting that momentum go on through. So as I release the club, my momentum is going to be coming all the way on through. And as I come on through the shot, now my left wrist is going to cup. So after the straight line release, let's actually pretend I'm going to go this way. I think this will be the easiest way for you guys to see this. After the straight line release and all those angles are fully gone, the wrist is nice and flat. Now as I come on through, look how that left wrist starts to cup up, and that's completely fine. So a lot of people out there are trying to hold that all the way on through there, and what ends up happening is we block it out to the right. We hit thin shots. We really just drag the club on through, and we don't ever get a lot of the speed from releasing that club. So we want to go ahead, let that release, and then it can fold on up. The left wrist can cup as we come through to our follow through. And that's really crucial to getting a lot of speed, because we want to let that left wrist go. So I've got a great drill for you. I want to recap on a few things that we're going to work on. And I'm going to go from this face-on view, since it's a little bit different than what we usually show, and I think it's the easiest way to see the left wrist. So position number one, what I want you to work on is, let's go ahead and get some lag, and let's get this left wrist slightly bowing like this. So this would be a cupped left wrist. You see my face is wide open. I'm going to go ahead and start to bow my left wrist as I'm coming down. Now, it's okay to have the left wrist just flat there. That's fine. If we get a little bowed, that's good too. The main thing we want to go against is we don't want to cup this wrist and start to add a bunch of loft to the face. So I'm going to have a flat or slightly bowed wrist. My hips again are clearing out of the way. I'm going to go right on through to my straight line release. Now from there, I want my hips about 45 degrees open, and I want my left wrist nice and flat. So I'm going from lag, and I'm releasing that lag. So I had an angle like this, I'm letting that angle go, and this is nice and flat. In the third position, we're going to come up nice and high, and I want you to go ahead and let your left wrist cup a little bit. That's completely fine. So pause in those three positions, give me about 100 reps. Number one, letting the hips open, bowed or a little bit flat or a little bit bowed. Coming through to the straight line release, hips are completely open. This is nice and flat with the left wrist. I've released that lag. And then finally, I'm letting that left wrist fold up as I come all the way on through to the target. So we're gonna go ahead and do about 100 reps, nice and slow, getting that feeling. And that's gonna help us to get this release coming through the ball. Now, since my left leg is kind of posting up, this is gonna be nice and shallow. I'm gonna have a little flat spot so I can compress this golf ball any point along this contact area. Then after we've done those 100 reps, I want you to go ahead and do a full practice swing coming all the way on through. And then we're gonna go ahead and hit some shots. So work through these drills, guys. Break them down piece by piece. You're gonna hit it great. All right, guys, hope y'all really enjoyed this video. If you did, I got a fantastic bonus video for you, an entire bonus series. Now, all the pros out there, the longest hitters in the world, they're getting a lot of lag, and they're releasing that lag to generate club head speed. I got a video that's going to show you your #1 lag mistake, one of the most common ones that I see. You're going to get instant access to that when you click the link that pops up on your screen for those of you that are on a desktop device. For those of you that are on a mobile phone, a tablet, an Android, go ahead and click the iCard up on your screen or down below in the description, and you'll get instant access to that video, plus 5 videos for my Top Speed Golf system, which are going to go over the 5 most important pieces of the swing to get power, to get accuracy, and to start beating the heck out of your friends. So good luck to you guys, and I'll see you all in a lag video. Hi guys, and welcome back. I'm Clay Ballard, and in today's video we're going to talk about one of the absolute worst drills for creating lag. It's a very common drill that I see, and in this drill what we're going to do is we're going to set the wrist very early to create an angle of lag, and then we're going to try to hold this throughout the swing. It's one of the worst things that you can do to build lag. I'm going to talk about the science behind why this is the case, and I'm also going to give you a great drill to help you improve your lag, all in this video. Let's go ahead and get started. If I do it this way versus holding that position, exact same thing happens when we're building lag in the golf swing. So what we want to do is throughout the swing, I want to have a very low and wide takeaway. So I'm not going to set my wrist early at all. If you look at a lot of the top players, you look at Adam Scott, very wide takeaway, not very much wrist set at all. You look at Rory McIlroy, look at Tiger Woods. All these players are using a wide takeaway and not getting very much wrist set, so that later in the swing, as we start down, we can increase this wrist set, and we're really only going to max out this angle of lag for a split second in the downswing. Okay, so a 3-step drill here. Now, as we get started with this, I want to remind you that the fulcrum in this golf club for getting a massive amount of lag is right at the end of the golf club. This is where I want my hinge point to be.